What's going on, everybody? So great to be back. It's been over a week. It's been too long, and it's getting awfully close. 'Tis the season, everybody. It is December 23rd. I'm your host, Matt O'Connor. I am joined alongside one of the great co-hosts of the program today on this early, bright and early morning, Andrew Nadler. Drew, man, it's great to see you. How you been?
Great. Thanks for having me on again. I am beautiful. I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. Are you excited to be recording all bright and early? I know you had a long night last night. Somebody hit up the
Always,
casino.
always, always excited to record an episode with Matt.
No matter what. Yeah, that's right. So even if you're running off
I
of,
died with this program.
yeah, running off of less than an ideal amount of sleep doesn't matter. We plug through, we plug away. And Drew, we're talking about what to open the show with and everything. And I just felt like just mulling over it just a few moments before we recorded. I'm thinking to myself, I feel like I would be misleading our audience to go anywhere else than the Mets and their their disaster of a 2025 free agency so far. And to me, Drew, like you just think about the dynamic, how everything has changed. I mean, we saw the largest contract in North American sports that the Mets give a player to in Juan Soto, the former Yankee, 765 million. What is it, 12, 13 years?
15.
Um, that's right, 13 years at 765 with a $30 million signing bonus included in there as well. You think about from that being what took place last offseason for the Mets and just what's happened now, all the fallout. We'll talk about specific players in just a few moments and Diaz and Alonso and get your take on that as a diehard Mets fan. But let's just talk about David Stearns and Steve Cohen for a minute here. And we can't just say David Stearns because Steve Cohen is the guy who hired David Stearns. He brought him on to be the decision maker and making these decisions to let Pete walk and let Diaz walk. So tell me about your perspective on David Stearns. Then I'll give you mine a little bit and just what do you make of his baseball philosophy and what he's done?
Oh my God, David Stearns. Where do I even begin? Yo, pull your head out of your ass, please. You have the most money to spend in the league, and you can't retain your best players. I get it. The core of Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil, Alonso, Diaz, they didn't win anything. No division titles, no World Series. They made the NLCS, I think, by the fate of God a little bit. And it's like you can't retain any of them. You're not willing to pay Edwin Diaz $3 million more to match the Dodgers offer. You're not gonna make your franchise cornerstone, Pete Alonso, face of this franchise. Not even a contract offer.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't even
it's
have a fucking contract offer. Sorry for cursing. But like, come on, dude. He's running this team Lucky Brewers. Run prevention, pitching. I haven't seen him sign one top end starter, one top end reliever. What are you doing? Pull your head out of your ass, please. Steve Cohen, force your hand a little bit. You
yeah.
step in and give him a blank check. Now they trade Jeff McNeil yesterday. Good riddance. Thank God. Dump his contract. He
Nice
sucks.
salary dump for sure.
Good, great salary dump. They better go out. Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger, or one of these starting pitchers that are on the market still.
I agree with you, and I think that you echo a lot of the frustration and sentiments that Met fans have just been really angry about this offseason. I mean, it's gotten out of hand at this point. I think, you know, here's what I'll say about David. I do believe, and I'm not a Met fan, so I'm not as impassioned about this as you might be, or as some of our other friends might be, or whatever. But obviously, I follow the team pretty closely and everything. I go to the games. I'm aware of everything that's happening. I think David Stearns is a really smart baseball mind.
Oh
He
yeah,
plays
no, I'm
Moneyball
not
and what.
agreeing with you there. I think he's smart baseball wise. Finding these diamond in the rough players like he did with Milwaukee. But like that's the Brewers. They're a small market team. This is the Mets. This is New York. Money, spend it. You want to put a
Yeah.
competitive team out there who can compete with the Dodgers, compete with the Phillies, compete with a fully healthy Braves team. You got to spend the money.
You're not wrong about that, but I'm just saying I think that I do trust. I don't. I do trust David Stearns to spend the money, but they're taking a different kind of approach to this. Obviously, he's you hear him on the podium, and when he gets asked questions by reporters or whatever, he immediately deflects to run prevention, run prevention, run prevention. So he's all about pitching, but at the same time, they're not really any in on any of these high-priced pitchers right now. They weren't in on Cease. Take that with what you will, whether you're a Cease guy or not. They're not really in on Fromber. Haven't really heard them knock on the door of Zach Allen or many of these guys, high-end guys on the open market. David Stearns is a unique kind of guy. I think he's a brilliant baseball mind. I think he did. But let's face it, Juan Soto was all Steve Cohen, right? That had
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
to do with David Stearns. Absolutely, there's no way. Listen, David Stearns might be smart. He might be willing to spend big on certain types of players that fit a profile that he might like. He would not write a $765 million check for anybody on planet Earth. I mean,
No.
you could have Babe Ruth resurrect from the dead, and David Stearns is not paying him at that price point, not even close.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put that on David Stearns' resume. I've heard other people do that. That's just a fallacy. That was not him.
Was
That
with the
was
Juan
all the
Soto
owner.
signing? Yeah,
Huh?
no, that was all Steve. That was
Uh,
all the Cohen family. You watched the two-part YouTube docuseries that we did, The Pursuit.
oh, that
It's
was so. I watched that at your house. That was an
it's just
amazing
all
series.
Steve Cohen and his wife's dad speaking to him in Spanish.
His wife's dad at the end of their meeting, they had been at dinner at one of Steve's many houses. Steve was joking around, "I'm gonna run out of houses to take you around to or whatever." And at the end of the last dinner, yeah, Alex's mom, so Steve's brother
Right.
and father-in-law had said, "So are you coming to the Mets?" Kind of just left it up in the air and whatever. And obviously, Juan couldn't answer. But and not too long after that, he ends up signing with them. But anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic there. I just think I do trust him to some extent, but it's a different kind of philosophy from David Stearns. I think he wants to get pitchers like he did as he has his first few seasons with the Mets. And we saw it work the first year. He wants to maybe pay a little bit high AAV, try and get diamonds in the rough, get guys who have been through rough patches in their career and see if their pitching development and their pitching coaches can maximize the potential of some arms that have some life in them. We saw them do it successfully with Luis Severino in his first year as a Met. He struggled. He obviously's got great stuff. As a Yankee, had some good years there. Faded away. Had a terrible last year with the Yankees. David Stearns picks him up. He gives him a nice 1 year prove it deal. He had a nice season with the Mets last year, and it pretty much worked out. Then you see them do it with Sean Manaea. Really worked out his first year there. Not so much the second time around when they give him the extension. He was hurt last year. So he likes giving away short term, prove it kind of deals to these pitchers that he could try and squeeze as much life out of as he can. But he doesn't want to overpay, doesn't want to give out the big bucks to pitchers. And then I think he is willing to splash big on players too. But he's all about run prevention, and in the form of run prevention comes great defense. And that I think is the main reason why I didn't bring Pete back. He just didn't believe in him as a defender. But on that note, Drew, let's talk a little bit specifically about these players. Okay, so Pete Alonso, we all know the deal. He's gone. He's lifetime Met, the all-time leader in franchise home runs. He surpassed Darryl Strawberry for that mark. Last season, he bolts for Baltimore for 5 years, 155 million. Say what you want about Pete, dude. Like, what did he mean to you as a Met? Where does he maybe rank as far as your favorite Mets of all time? And how pissed are you that he's gone? He's with an American League club.
I It's hard. I mean, it's really tough to see the so-called face of the franchise leave after he's been with even though since he's been up in the MLB since 2019. I was there at his first opening day in like middle school. It's just hard to see that it's like he's not going to be in a Mets uniform next year.
It already looks weird. I mean, I watched his
Yeah,
opening press conference with the Orioles, and it just was so weird to see, man.
well, so
Pete, not
weird
in the
him in
Mets
another
hat.
uniform. A different number. He's wearing 25 with the Orioles.
Yeah. What's that about?
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe 20's retired. I don't know. I don't know a lot about the Baltimore Orioles, but it's like he's up there with the all-time greats. I think if he finished his career out with the Mets, his number would have been hanging in the rafters of Citi Field. But, the MLB is a business. This stuff happens. Your favorite player leaves your team. You would know, even though he was there for a year. You guys loved Juan Soto.
We did love Juan Soto. Yes.
Yeah,
No,
we don't need to get into that whole thing, how he was there for a year and you think he was his homegrown player. But watching your superstar, like any fan out there, watching your best player, your superstar, your face of the franchise, walk away in free agency, go to a new team, it's like a gut punch. And it's
yeah.
the tough pill to swallow, and it's the reality of the business.
It is definitely a gut punch. I mean, Pete. It wasn't. I mean, when you talk about the on field and everything, I think a lot of people. He took a lot of uh, a lot of criticism over the years for his defense and being a subpar first baseman. I think we saw that turnaround, and the metrics show that.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not a Gold Glover. He's not Paul Goldschmidt or Anthony Rizzo over there or anything like that. But that guy put in a lot of work in the off seasons over the years. I think he really turned around his defense, got so much better. A lot of things can back that up. You could look into the advanced metrics and everything; they will back that up. And on field, you talk about the power. There is nobody left in free agency now that can replace what Pete Alonso did from a power
No,
standpoint. The Mets are
nobody.
not replacing 40 home run consistently. A guy that's going to take the field for you every single day, hit 40 bombs, have a mid 800s OPS, and play a decent first base. That is not. I mean, and it's about how do you recalibrate and how do you improve yourself as a ball club altogether. But you're not going to be able to replace what Pete Alonso did from an on-field standpoint. So we could talk about the emotional side of things and the emotional attachment that Met fans had developed for Pete over the past few years and what he meant to you as a fan and whatever. But from an on-field standpoint, that's why I think that this is such a
Yeah,
colossal mistake
yeah,
from
it
David
is.
Stearns.
Just the
He was
on-field
not the
stuff.
problem last year, Drew.
No, he was the furthest thing from the problem. And we talk about the on-field production. He was also clutch too. You think about it.
Yep.
I mean, we were there in 2023 when he hit the game-tying grand slam. Oh my God, it was one of the clutchest swings I've ever seen. The home run off Devin Williams in the wild card in 2024. It's just like these franchise moments, and he was the one who did them. It's like you can't replace him. It's like it honestly feels like Moneyball a little bit, even though I can't believe I'm saying those words about the Mets. Moneyball. Like, the scene where they're in the room talking about replacing Giambi, how they're gonna create him in the element. That's what it kind of feels like now. Like now, like they signed Jorge Polanco, all this stuff, and it's like, what are we doing?
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, there's something to be said for that for sure. Pete is out the door. He is gone, and it's about how you build a better team from here, and this is the way that David Stearns wants to do it through importing some guys who on shorter term deals for higher AAV that he thinks that he could be productive players. But yeah, man, I mean it's just to me that it just hurts. And then let's talk about Diaz a little bit too here because we talked a little bit about Pete, but Diaz leaves, and as you said correctly, as we were just briefing the whole situation all together, He gets the deal from LA, 3 years, 69 million. Apparently, what the Mets had offered was 3 years, 66 million, but with room to grow and room to wiggle. Negotiations were not finalized at that point. The Mets were willing to maybe go up at price point there. He ends up leaving. It was almost like a Saquon to the Eagles situation where Joe Shane, and
Like
we got
that.
to see that unfold live on Hard Knocks where
Oh, that was beautiful. Do not talk about my coach Saquon Barkley like that.
Yep, yeah, you received his
Slander
jersey
his
for
name.
Christmas as well.
Don't
Uh,
slander his name.
yeah. So, I mean, you talk about Diaz, though, not to get off topic with that, but it was almost similar to that, right? I mean, Joe
Yeah, there
Shane,
was a
he's got
sense of
Saquon on the
similarity.
line. He's like, go ahead.
There definitely was a sense of similarity, but the difference between Joe Shane and the Mets actually made him an offer.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. Joe Shane
I
never
think I
actually went
heard
through
like
with
some
them.
reports that like he would have re-signed if he just knew about the Devin Williams signing. He probably would have came back, and he felt probably a little disrespected by that. That like, oh, you're bringing this guy in to replace me, and you don't tell me.
Yeah.
And like, he signs the Dodgers for $3 million more. It's like, how much better can they get? I'm not gonna get into that. Like, they spent the money. Good for them. I hope he implodes every single game now, like he did for the Mets a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the Dodgers and everything they have, and they didn't even have a healthy Tanner Scott in their bullpen last year. Now they're going to be rolling out him, who was,
No, he's
one of the
terrible.
premier arms 2 years ago that they acquired at the trade deadline. And then you got the best closer in baseball. And you think about the Dodgers' run last year, that's really where they struggled the most. They could not get consistent relief pitching
Yeah,
throughout.
it was like
Blake
Stan
Trinan
Miller.
struggled a little
Correct.
bit, some other guys. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. And yeah, another thing to touch on with this, a whole nother layer, is the fact that the Mets, they bring in Devin Williams, 3 years, 51 million. Take that with what you will. I think that's a horrible deal. I have no grievances about him no longer being a Yankee. He was terrible for us last year. He has been a shell of himself since the Pete Alonso home run 2 years ago in the penultimate wild card game. Never really recovered from that entirely. I know he pitched better down the stretch, like the last month for the Yankees, and actually had a decent postseason too. Um, but yeah, you have it. You have to think that is Edwin Diaz taking an offer from the Mets if he is aware of the Devin Williams signing. And I think that's a bigger picture problem with David Stearns, Drew, is that he is not a great communicator. He thinks he's
No,
smart, he's all in his ways, but at the end of the day, I think a smart mind, a Brian Cashman, a smart minded GM, somebody who's been doing this for a long time, especially in a big market, would have communicated about that. Would have
no,
been
yeah.
ringing Diaz's phone line saying, hey, by the way, just so you know, we're going to go after Devin Williams, but we still want you back as our closer. We want to bring him in as the setup guy or whatever scenario might play
Yeah.
out with him. But just know we are still interested in bringing you back. That didn't happen. They pretty much performed bedside manner. They signed Diaz without any notification to Diaz at 51 million. It left Diaz up in arms like, what's my situation here? Is he the closer now? Diaz gets a good offer from the Dodgers, which is close to the Mets. He doesn't want to go further in negotiations, and he took the easy way out. He got a very nice deal from a Los Angeles Dodgers team that does nothing but win. Diaz says he wants to win. He's going to the back-to-back World Series champions. Good for him. But it hurts from that standpoint because you
Yeah.
just don't know. If David Stearns is better at his job, then maybe he's still a Met. So that's where we sit with it right now. I mean, any closing remarks? Tell me how you feel about Polanco and everything like that. Polanco's coming off a pretty nice year. Popped career high in homers last year. I think he had 26 homers, mid 800s OPS, was clutch for the Mariners in the postseason. Obviously, he's not a replacement for Pete Alonso, quite frankly, but maybe a nice addition. And how do you feel about that? And what could you see moving forward here?
I think it's a nice addition, and you get some consistent play. Very good with runners in scoring position. He hit north of 300 with runners in scoring position from last season, and probably gonna play, probably gonna DH for a little bit of first base. I'm excited. I think it's a good contract, 2 years, $40 million on like just a little deal to provide some consistency with runners on base where they really struggled last season. At
They
times,
did.
so you bring in a guy who's pretty consistent with runners on. I'm excited to see what it is to go after Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I mean that's even when the Mets were rolling last year and on June 12th when they had the best record in baseball and they were home cooking or whatever, that was still their main issue, and it persisted to be an issue throughout their tumultuous summer where they fell off planet Earth.
So
Is
painful.
hitting with runners in scoring position. So Polanco should definitely be a little bit of a remedy to that. I don't know if he can emulate his production last year. I mean, you have to look at his last 5 years were not quite as good as that. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. And he provides you with a little bit of positional versatility. They're probably going to work him out at first a lot at spring training. Maybe he could play first. We'll see if they go after more of these high priced guys. But this is David Stearns' plan. And man, I mean, as a Yankee fan watching from the sidelines, I'm excited to see how it plays out. But let's. So, Drew, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but the Knicks are NBA Cup champions.
I'm aware. I'm on social media. I watched the game, Matt. I told you I watched it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know you're not the biggest hoops guy in the world, but yes, the Knicks, they grabbed
They
ever
won something.
elusive that ever elusive trophy. This is a team that has not held hardware in their hands since 1972. They have not appeared in the finals in this
Late 90s.
century. So it's been a very long time coming for them. And yeah, they get that championship. Listen, man, here's what I'll say 30 teams compete in this tournament, okay? This is not a situation where half the teams can take a kneel and say, I'm not participating in the cup because I'm a guy. But for whatever reason, when the Knicks win the cup, you have 50% of NBA fans saying that is completely and entirely meaningless. But there's something to be said when all 30 teams are competing equally in a
Yeah.
tournament with an opportunity to increase and augment their bank accounts. There are financial implications at play, and you win it. There's something to be said for that. Okay? And the Knicks, they hung in tough. They actually lost, I think, their first cup game, the first game of the NBA Cup. So they were already like on the brink of elimination from after their first game all the way through, and they won all those games. That game against the Spurs, they practically played like shit for 3.5 quarters. They finished the third quarter strong. Jordan Clarkson comes out on the fourth quarter on a roll, two threes back to back, drains them, pretty much ties the game there. Another brilliant game from Jalen Brunson. And Drew, there's something to be said for it. Like I said, everybody's competing in this, and the Knicks, they were champions. They came out on top, and I appreciate the way they celebrated too. What's your take on it? And how excited are you about this Knicks team? Now 20-8 on the regular season.
I think it's really exciting. I mean, time you can win a championship, as you know, we are former athletes. Winning a championship, there's nothing better than that as an athlete. And everyone's like discrediting it. I'm like, yeah, as you said, all 30 teams have a fair and equal shot, and they just happen to win. And like, bench play, huge problem last year. Bench doesn't really play. This year, Clarkson off the bench, Robinson off the bench, and then my goat, Tyler Kolek off the bench.
Yes, sir. T. Kolick. He's been
Man, known
fantastic.
OG fan here of Tyler Kolek, by the way. Matt's my witness. He was there when I said he's going to do very good in the NBA.
Yeah,
Almost 10
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago at Big East Championship, I was
And
like,
I
oh,
was taught. Yeah. Go-
it's good to see them finally win a championship and get some dollars in their bank account. But
Yeah, it's
some
five hundred thirty
they
thousand
donated
dollars.
it. Yeah, I mean, but some of the superstars, this is the best part in my opinion. Like Brunson, Towns, all these guys, they don't need that money. They gave it to staffers who didn't make the money, who probably needed a lot more than they do.
Oh, I didn't know that. They gave it to staffers. That's
Yeah, like some of like the higher paid players, they gave their money to like staffers.
Yeah, that speaks to the kind of captain that JB is. I mean, he took a massive salary cut in when he signed his extension with the Knicks or whatever. He could have waited a year and gotten a lot more money, but he didn't because that's the kind of dude that he is. And I agree with everything that you're saying, man. I just think it's great. And you speak about the bench and the way that those guys have contributed and how much they've meant and what a big part they were to the NBA Cup. Well, I'm sorry. You're a big Tyler Kolek guy. So am I. I was a big Tom Thibodeau guy. But none of this surgence coming from these dudes off the bench is not happening under a Tom Thibodeau administration. It
No,
simply
they
isn't.
wouldn't play.
They wouldn't play. Tyler Kolek barely got any runway last year. He played in the beginning of the year due to some injuries or whatever. I think it was some ridiculous stat, like he didn't miss his first 10 field goals. So he came out the gate and he played pretty well. Then he got buried in the bench for a little bit. Then at midseason, he gets a little bit more of a chance once again. And pretty much from that point, he didn't play well, got like one or two games, wasn't overly impressive, struggled defensively, and Tibbs pulls the plug on him like that. Mike Brown is giving these guys a fair shake, all these bench guys, even Yabu Sele, who struggled off the bench this year. And Tyler Kolek, man, you can't say enough about him. He was brilliant on Thursday night in Indiana. 17 points, 11 assists. He's such a great passer, such a superb passer, and they don't win that game without him.
Yeah.
And he was great in the Cup game. He had a big assist to Anunoby down the stretch there where he's driving baseline, throws a nice swing pass in the corner to OG. He's been so good. We all know the shot he has. Me and you saw it in person at the Big East tournament in Marquette. And I'm glad this guy has been given an opportunity. I love talking about him because it's straight barbecue chicken when you're talking about
Hell,
this kid.
you know, it is straight barbecue chicken. Taken, that's a direct quote from him. Where it's like he's like a spark plug off the bench. You could take Jalen Brunson out, you could just plug Kolek right in. They have similar play styles, in my opinion. I think Kolek's more of like a facilitator point guard. Like get the offense moving, not look to score immediately.
Right.
But
I,
like,
I think I
yeah,
agree. And when I see Kolek with the ball, taking the ball up the court too, you talk about the facility. He's comfortable doing it. And
yeah,
the more playing time that he gets, the more time he's out on the floor, basketball is all about knowing where your teammates are going to be and being able to make the right reads and make the right passes. So the more time this guy gets on the court, naturally, the better he'll become at it. And Mike
yeah,
Brown is giving him that opportunity. The other night against Indiana, he's an adverse defender. We all know it. He's really got to stick his nose in defensively just to kind of hold up. And Mike Brown keeps him on the floor that last Indiana possession, and the Knicks get to stop to win the game. Having trust in your guys, that's what it's all about. That's what Mike Brown has in Kolek right now, and it looks really good. So, yeah, the Knicks Cup champions, I won't spend too much time on this. We talked about the haters already. Like, really, man? Listen, the Knicks are handling this perfectly, right? In my opinion, they win this thing 124-113. They celebrate hard. Mike Brown is fired up on the podium, shouting out his guys after the cup, singing praises about all his players and whatever. These guys are getting their money. The stars are giving it to staffers. I think the Knicks handle this to a T, 10 out of 10, and then it comes out the news the next day that they're not going to be raising a banner. Wonderful. Listen. Sure. The Knicks, the last time they raised a trophy was in 1973 when they raised the Larry O'Brien. I get it. It's been a long time, but that's no excuse to hang a banner for an in-season tournament inside the most iconic arena in sports in this country. It's Madison Square Garden. That's just that. I mean, we got all these retired numbers. We got Knicks and Rangers legends all across there. It just doesn't
Billy
belong.
Joel, Billy Joel.
We got Billy Joel, of course, one of the great singers of all time. His monthly tenure there is dead, unfortunately. But he's a legend. Like, it just doesn't belong. I think the Knicks handled it well. Friday night in their game against Philadelphia, they had That was considered their celebratory thing for the cup. They were able to celebrate with some fans and maybe do signatures and say hi or whatever and call it a day. They were fired up on the podium. I'm sure they were out in Vegas, probably not falling asleep till 5 in the morning. I mean, seriously, Drew, anywhere that you're going to celebrate winning something, could it be any better than in Vegas?
Maybe Miami, but Vegas for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So yeah, I mean that pretty much puts a bow on it for me. Let's go Knicks. They're rolling right now. Big win against Miami the other night. Jalen Brunson dropping a career high at Madison Square Garden, 47 points, sitting at 20 and 8 so far in the regular season. I think they're 500 on the road, which is pretty good considering how dreadful they started on the road earlier in the season. I think they were like 2-6 at one point. So things are looking up. I think their next game is probably the Christmas Day game, and I'm trying to think who they play right now.
I'm pretty sure it's tonight. I think they
Oh,
play
do they
tonight.
play tonight? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that.
Like Brunson's out,
But
Anunoby's out. Like these guys, they're not playing against the Timberwolves.
Timberwolves, is that the Christmas Day game?
No, I think that's tonight.
Okay, yeah. So we'll see. But fired up about the team right now, and let's keep this train moving. Drew, me and you see each other. We have fun together. And we like to play games too when we see each other. So I figured let's bring what we do in our free time onto the podcast. Play a little pick'em baseball card edition. It's the holiday season. Have a little bit of fun with this. When I saw you picked me up from the airport last Friday, and we played this at my house, and it's just a blast, man. I mean, our ball knowledge is off the charts. Obviously, you kind of destroyed me and Jake for the most part. You were clean house clearing us like 10-5, 11-5. We play to 11 every game. You'll kind of our audience will kind of get the gist of this as we go along here. I give some information. I got a deck of baseball cards. I can't show them right in front of me right here. I'm going to give a little bit of information about this player, maybe where they played before. It could be anything. It could be the most miscellaneous thing ever. I can throw out a line that a broadcaster uses on them, maybe a nickname of theirs. Sometimes it's just their former team. Sometimes you just say they're white, they're black, this, and to help that description part of it. So let's do it. Let's have some fun here on the pod, and let's get started, man. And let's go. Let's start off with a fun one here. There is one tagline I could throw out on this fella, and you'll get it immediately. And I kind of just want to say it, so I'm going to. I hate this place.
Alec Bohm.
Alec Bohm, Philadelphia Philly.
Alec, I need a haircut, Bohm.
Yeah, man, he's got some luscious locks, but he could probably use a haircut. Oh, this is definitely one of the piles that we already played with at my house last week, but that's okay. We could keep this train rolling anyway. Let's go with a former Met. Have some fun here. Here's a guy, he went in a massive trade a couple years ago. A trade that brought in one of the Met franchise cornerstones that's still on the team, and he was probably the centerpiece of this trade for the other team. And he's changed teams since then, but he got traded originally from the Mets to an AL Central team. Now he plays for an AL East team that made the World Series. Andres Gimenez is correct. The centerpiece for the Guardians, or then Indians, in the Francisco Lindor deal. Let's keep it moving. Ooh, what do we have here? No, David Bodie. I don't really know how to describe him. All right, here's a lefty starting pitcher, a guy who is retired now. He spent probably his prime years in Boston as a Red Sox. Bounced around a little bit, but in this card, and I guess this is the year of 2020, these cards, the COVID-shortened season, he's a Chicago Cub, lefty pitcher, Red Sox, Cubs. I think he was an A, too. Have an idea?
Yeah, Cubs, Red Sox.
I would say one piece of information that would totally give it away, but give you a little bit of time here.
John Lester.
John Lester's correct. And I would have said he has a irrational fear of checking runners over at first base. Remember that?
Just going to first base.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep this going. I think this guy's a free agent right now. Yeah, he's been a Met the last few years, outfielder, and I think he's a free agent. I don't think he's still under contract. I don't think he'll be returning with the Mets next season. Nice hitter. Sometimes bats at the top of the order, sometimes bottom. Injury prone though. You could say his name pretty fun.
And now, coming to the fight from Santo Domingo, Starling Marte.
Marte Parte. That is right. He's a Marlin in this card. Great, great. Another good Met that David Stearns will probably let walk right out the backside. So, see ya.
Oh, God, baby.
Brandon Workman. I forgot he existed.
Who is that?
He's a Philly pitcher. All right. Let's go. Oh, I think this guy, he may have just signed with the Mets. Like in the past couple of days. No. Tristan Casas signed with the Mets, right?
No.
No. Where did Tristan Casas sign? I saw him sign somewhere.
He's still with Boston. He just gets hurt every year.
No. I think he went to the Mets. I'm pretty sure.
No, he didn't. Tristan Thompson. No.
I will look it up. But all right. Again, so this is the pack we already did, so you're probably going to get most of these rather easily. But here's a guy. I don't know if you got. I don't think anybody got this one. It's a tough one. Former Red Sox. I think he might be in their minor leagues now or out of the league at this point in time. But he was a Red Sox at the time. Started his career in 20, played there 21, 22, maybe 23. First base, third base / DH. A lot of pop in his bat. I mean, when this guy made contact, it would go a long ways for the most part. White,
Bobby
big
Dalbec.
dude. Bobby Dahlbeck's correct.
I'll have to play shortstop for them.
He played short. It says
Yeah, sometimes.
interesting. It says first and third in this card.
Like he played like once or twice.
All right, let's keep it going. This guy, power hit, another power guy, another guy with a lot of boom in his barrel. He's a longtime White Sox. I think he got traded at this year's trade deadline as mainly a DH. I think he plays for. He's a horrible defender, and he can hit though. I think he got traded to the Twins maybe at some point. I don't know, but think offensive lineman football number with the White Sox. Big right-handed power hitter. Spanish.
Jose Abreu?
Not Jose Abreu. He played with Jose.
Big offensive line numbers.
Offensive lineman number. 74 was his number.
Oh, is this Eloy Jimenez?
Yes. Where did he get traded after the White Sox? Twins?
No clue. Is he even in the league still?
I'm not sure. I think so. That's a good, yeah.
I'm sure his baseball reference page. He got traded in 20. Said he was with the I think he's with Baltimore right now.
Oh, yes. I kind of remember seeing him as an Oriole.
Where is he?
Okay, let's move forward. Now we have an Oriole. Oh my, Drew, this is one of my favorite. Okay, so think of bad contracts in baseball. You think of, I mean, there's so many. Sonny Gray with the Yankees, Joey Gallo with the Yankees, Jacoby Ellsbury, maybe the worst Yankees contract in my lifetime. Mets have had some bad contract. The Max Scherzer and the Verlander deal with the Mets.
Lowry in 2019.
Yeah, the Lowry. That was still a Wilpon contract. This, in my opinion, was the worst contract in the history of baseball. Or it's at least up there as the top 5. But I loved this guy. Even though he had times where he raked against my Yankees as an AL East foe, this guy could absolutely mash in his day. And I think going into his walk year, I could check the numbers now. This was his best year, and it came in 2015. He hit 47 home runs that year. I think he led the American League and that was going into his walk year. He received probably the biggest contract in Orioles history after that. First base, DH, couldn't do anything.
Is this Chris Davis?
Chris Davis.
0 for 54 to start the season in 2019.
That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah, he went 0 for 54 to open the season 1 year.
Isn't that sort of incredible that they gave him that long a runway? I mean, after you 0 for 12, take a seat or send him down to the minors or something. But the Orioles roster was so gutted at that point in time and so bad, and they're paying him all this money that they would just still trot him out there. They didn't even care. Kind of crazy. All right, another first baseman. This guy, I can guarantee you, doesn't have an 0 for 54 streak going for him at any point in time. He's a future Hall of Famer, and he just won the World Series.
That's Freddie Freeman.
That would be correct. Freddie Freeman. See the Atlanta Brave in this card right here. All right, let's go with two more. Here's a guy. I don't know. I'll make this one as hard as I possibly can, even though it's rather easy. Maybe I'll just do his batting stance as a lefty.
Is this Devers?
Dude, you are good, man. Devers, just based off my backpack. Yeah. The movement of the bat. No words necessary for Devers. Okay. Oh, we couldn't finish on any better fashion than this. From the Braves,
Marcell Ozuna.
Ozuna from the Braves will cap us off. That was fun, Drew. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. Another great episode as always. And to our audience, if you're still with us, have a wonderful Christmas. We will see you very soon.
Please
Let's go, New York.
Check us out on TikTok.